So hi there, and thanks for joining us for another episode here of Nurturing Success. I'm excited today because we're doing something a little out of the ordinary. I have with me Val Miller, and Val is not a financial advisor in the traditional sense of the word, but is in the mortgage space and making a transition. I'll let her share more about that. But again, Val, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm excited.
Good. Thank you so much. So as you can see, if you're watching this, but if you can't see it and you're listening to it, you'll see there's a vast age difference between Val and myself. And that is great. And that's intentional. Val has most recently worked with a good friend of mine, Trevor Hammond, as an executive assistant and Girl Friday and all sorts of other things that have helped him keep his life together and so forth. And I'm sure you've learned a lot from each other. And I hope to learn a lot from you today. But you're making a transition. So Val, tell me a little bit about what you're doing and why we're sort of having this conversation a little bit today.
Yeah. So I have been in the mortgage space since really 2020. I actually got in right before COVID and before the world shut down. So I've really, in my short mortgage career, I've seen every market that you possibly could, especially like looking back to 2020 and compared to now, it's vastly different markets. I'm probably getting into one of the worst ones, but that's, if I can overcome this challenge, I can overcome anything. So I got into the industry though in a marketing role. So that's really how I found mortgage and eventually found Neo Home Loans. And when I got into that side of things, into the Neo ecosystem, if you will, I started to see this very different way of doing business and how people were impacting consumers, and quickly fell in love with the mortgage advisor side of things. But going from marketing to production is really tough when you don't kind of get your hands dirty and you're not on the production side of things. There's just so many intricacies to learn. So it was always a very far-fetched kind of dream to switch over to the mortgage advisor side.
Yeah.
So about a year and a half ago, I transitioned to being a loan partner to actually another one of our Neo teammates, Justin Padron, here in Texas. So I actually moved for the role, moved to Texas, and was his loan partner for a little over a year, learning the back end of the business. And now Trevor and I had worked together during this whole process. He's always been a mentor of mine and has coached me through certain things, but we have a podcast. So I've always worked with him in that sense. And when I switched over I decided I wanted to rip the Band-Aid and go into the mortgage advisor role. And Trevor was like, you can join my branch. So then we had a conversation about it, and it was just kind of natural and fitting that I joined his branch. Because again, he's been such a mentor to me. So we are a little over a month into full on mortgage advisor. Now I've kind of been doing the activities for a little while, but this is we're taking the leap now. So there's like no safety net, and it's been exciting and really fun. A little scary, but more so fun. So I think I'm making the right decision.
No, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. And I want to come back to all that in a moment, but I realized I didn't get to ask you the question that I like to open with for everybody. But it's okay. It'll fit right here perfectly. So what are you grateful for today? What are you most grateful for today, Val?
Ooh, what a great question. I am grateful for collaboration, I would say, and having people a lot smarter than me surround me and being able to learn from them. And being in an environment where, again, like I could say so many great things about Neo, but that's one of my favorite things is people are so willing to collaborate and help each other out all the time. And if I wasn't in this environment, I truly don't think that I would be in the mortgage advisor role right now or in the situation that I'm in. So I would say I'm grateful for collaboration.
Great. Well, I love that. Thank you very much. And I'm interested in, so one of the reasons that I wanted to have us have a little bit more of a conversation on this is because in working with, financial planners, and we'll talk about your experience with financial planners and how it works in the ecosystem you're coming from, and also with Trevor. Sorry, there's a fly flying around me. Look at this. This is all live.
I didn't know
Anyway, so
this is how you get in the zone.
Exactly right. And so we'll talk about advisors, but as you're looking back just over the last, call it 6 months, is there something that stood out to you that excited you about, and you're calling it a mortgage advisor? Not everyone's heard that term, And I wanted to emphasize how important that means because it's advice. And we're talking about also working with financial planners and financial advisors. And I think the two are very much aligned, but not everyone understands it. So what attracted you to this mortgage advisor role? What is there two or three things that really stick out in your mind that were important to you that hit you and said, I'm going to do this?
Yeah. So number one, I think is impact. I like to see some sort of impact from the work that I'm doing. And when I was on the marketing side, I felt like I really hit a ceiling when it came to that. Like I was impacting the mortgage advisors that were then impacting the clients, but in a much bigger way. So it was kind of this indirect impact that I was having, but I didn't feel super fulfilled. So I think the fulfillment piece of it, being able to really impact someone's life is huge, and we can do that in a really big way from the mortgage standpoint.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I really liked, and then kind of the really cool thing about our industry is when you step into a role like this, you're really entrepreneurial minded. Like you have a lot of freedom to create something the way that you want to create it, and I would say that that's the biggest thing for me. Again, coming from a marketing background, I like the creative side of things.
Yeah.
And it allows you to put your own spin on your business, though, and how you want to build it and the approach that you want to take. So I think just being able to kind of build something on your own is really cool to me. And that definitely attracted me to it. Um, and I think just being able to, like, a lot of this role is just connecting and engaging with people, whether that's the client or you're talking about real estate agents or financial advisors. A lot of it is going out and just telling people about how we're different and what we're doing
Mhm.
to impact people. And the message that we have is so different and it really lands with people. So it's been cool to kind of spread the word about that, but also meet really cool people along the way. I just love that side of it.
That's great, and that's I love the words you're using. So I don't think people perceive the mortgage business as creative, right? And so the reality is, and you're talking about it from the design standpoint in marketing, but also the work I believe that we do and how we do impact people is can be very very creative. And I'm excited to get the word out to younger people, because I think what's lacking in our industry is younger people to come into business and to do more of that kind of work, and we need a new generation, and I think everyone understands that. But the creative side of it is what's important. And so, can you think of an example that would maybe show what creativity is in the mortgage advisor space, like something that's really creative that engage your brain in a different way?
Yeah, actually, I was just working on this, so this is timely. So this coming week, and I've worked with Trevor on this, and we've kind of I'm a very community-based person. Like, I love having a community. I grew up in a very tight-knit area where it was, like, small town, Pennsylvania, actually. But
Hmm.
now I'm in Texas where I moved here and don't really know anyone. Like, I knew a few people that were within the neo space, and they've been great, but it's not like I came here with a tribe around me already.
Yeah, yeah.
So now stepping into this role, it's all about connections that you have. So it's like starting from scratch in that way. But one of the things that really resonated with me and I wanted to create was that type of community, but for something that all parties could benefit. So this coming Friday, actually, I'm having my first realtor mastermind group.
Aha. I love
So we're getting together and it's not I want it to be really intentional about, it's not me just coming to present and like word vomit on people.
it. Sure.
I want it to be something where everyone truly collaborates and like shares. I'm picking a specific topic each time, but it's, how is everyone else using this in their business? What's
Hmm.
stopping you from doing X, Y, and Z? And ideally, like, I want this to be something that these agents almost rely on for their business and making it better and implementing different things. So every month it's going to be this mastermind group. And do you want to take that?
No, we're good. Actually, I
um,
can't even answer it. We have this new phone system, and it rings on my computer, which I can turn off, but I haven't figured out how
love
to
it.
turn off on my phone yet.
So every month it's going to be this mastermind group where we get together and again, it's that like I'm creating a community, but also getting to engage with new people, people that I've already known. So I'm having fun with that. And I was just working on kind of the topic and the things that we're going to talk about. So that's something that like no one comes to you and has this on a
Yeah.
silver platter of like, this is how you have to run your business and generate opportunities. You kind of get to like design it in your own way. So that's cool for me. And that was a cool take that I'm excited about.
That's neat. No, that's very creative, and you're helping and you're teaching and you're learning while doing, right? Which is we often learn the most while we're doing something, right? And so I think one of the lessons that people don't understand when they're starting off in business, and you use the word entrepreneur, you don't have to have it all figured out, right? You just have to start,
Yeah.
and you'll figure out how to do it as you go along if your intentions are correct, right? And it sounds like you have the right intentions. And so you're working remote, right? So, I mean, your home office is in Oregon and you're in Texas, right?
Yep.
And so I think one of the unique things about getting into the industry now is the fact that it is so flexible and that you can do things in different ways, right? And could you have imagined, and maybe it's not the right question, but could you imagine when you sort of first started looking at the mortgage business that you could be living in Texas, working for a company in Oregon, and have the ability to work anywhere in the United States? And that wasn't even possible 5 years ago.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy because again, like when I got into this business, now I worked for a mortgage association, so I wasn't working directly with a company, but we were going into the office 5 days a week when I first started, and you didn't have that flexibility. But now what's even cooler in the mortgage business, depending on what company you work for, is I can go to like I actually took a trip up to Seattle later last year,
Mhm.
and I got to go in and visit one of our branches in Seattle. So it's like you are so connected to everyone that's in your company, but a lot of the time it's virtual. But then you get to go to these different places, and we have someone in almost every corner of the country. So it's just really cool the way that you get to connect with a lot of people in the industry, but also have the freedom to be remote and live and work where you want.
Yeah. No, thank you. That's awesome. So let's transition a little bit to financial planners, financial advisors. So, I know from Trevor, because Trevor and I won't say grew up together, but we've been part of the same, coaching, borrow smart, world now for, almost 20 years, give or take. And everything we do in our practices is driven around that. And then you have the company you currently work for, Neo, which has a focus on financial stuff, right? And it's more than that, but I'll leave it at that because people can learn more about Neo as well. But they have a focus on a little bit different than other mortgage companies. So tell me, as you're thinking about financial planners, do you plan to market to financial planners? Is that going to be a target market for you?
Yes, for sure. So this how we kind of strategized it was really the first 90 days is heavily focused on realtors only because it's quicker business.
Yep.
Like you can get some quick wins there. But even like a conversation with Trevor last week was, all right, I have some empty space in my calendar. He's like, have you reached out to financial advisors? And I've already had conversations. Like I have a few we've kind of talked about this in the past, but there's almost two paths. It's like you're partnering with financial advisors to be able to send them clients. So if I have a client that has a lot of money sitting in a savings account and it's not generating much of a return, having that outlet to be able to refer them to someone, but then also partnering with financial advisors on a bigger scale and doing it for like stream of opportunities, right? So them referring you business. So the latter, I was kind of putting on hold a little bit just
Mhm.
because I was really heavily focused on the realtor side of things. But he said, like what's stopping you from doing that and what's it going to
Sure.
hurt? So I've started I already have a few kind of in my arsenal, but now I've
Right.
started sprinkling in those financial advisor meetings starting actually like Monday next week. So that's definitely a focus. And again, it's so like ingrained in our culture at Neo that it's hard to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But I really like that kind of path in the business is really attractive to me. That's where I want to go eventually.
I love it. So you're familiar with the concept that we teach, the three-sided balance sheet. Right? So this three-sided balance sheet where we have real estate, you have financial planning, then you have liability planning, right? So which is the mortgage side of it. And so the bringing together all three of those things is really critical, and you're sort of starting to focus on that kind of stuff. So let's say you're talking to a next gen financial planner you meet next week or the week after, whenever it might be, what would you tell them is important about understanding this three-sided balance sheet and how you can help bring it all together?
Yeah, great question. So, financial advisors, I mean, they speak in assets. Like that's their language is how much money does someone have right now? But they don't really have a solution for helping someone plan around their liabilities. So, when we look at a mortgage, many people in our country, I think, just have this negative connotation around debt. Like all
Mhm.
debt is kind of lumped into one. But if you have someone in your corner that can help you on the liability management side of things, it creates a lot of leverage, first of all. So as you're building equity, there's different things that you can do with that equity to create opportunities down the road. And then from the financial advisor standpoint, like our job is also we want to create as much cash flow for these people as possible. So when it comes time to refinance, a lot of people aren't tracking their own mortgage. They don't know when to pull the trigger on that. They just see headlines that rates have dropped. So they then reach out to someone, and sometimes it's too late. So having someone like
Smith, why? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
you're fine. Having someone like us, where we're actually proactively managing that, can then create opportunities for the financial advisor to get more of those assets. So we're kind of creating the opportunity for them and the client. So it's like this win 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 from all sides of that three sided balance sheet. Like we all can work together. I just think most times in our industry, they're kind of operating in their own silos.
Yeah, no, I think that's really well said, Val. So yeah, and you've dropped a couple of really great truth bombs there, right? So about what, and especially businesses can be happening probably this year where you're tracking rates and you're helping advisors and clients sort of figure out the optimal time to restructure debt, free up cash flow, build their financial plan, all those kinds of things. So I love it, and you're going to do great. Tell me a little bit about you've gotten into business now. You've stuck with it. You're liking it. What would you tell other people your age that might want to get into the mortgage business or even the financial planning business? What's out there? What should they be thinking about? What would you tell them to do?
Oh gosh. That is, well, I think, and I was guilty of this too, getting into the business. It's like you think of mortgage and you just think of these like stiff guys that are sitting around crunching numbers and like, yeah. But when you really get down to it, like I have met some of the coolest people within this industry that I truly never thought. And honestly, when I got into the industry, I didn't think that this was going to be a long-term
Yeah,
career move. Like I remember probably a few months in, I was looking at like different job opportunities because I was like, this just isn't for me. It's not my thing. But when you learn to be resourceful, I think is like advice number one. You just have to get into it with a willingness to figure things out. And it can be really fun. Like you can make it your own. So there's regardless of your background or what you're really good at, I think the mortgage industry, a lot of people can fit in it and do really well. I'm definitely not the like some people come in with more of an accounting background where it's like they love the number side of things. That is the complete opposite of my personality and what I'm good at. But I think there's room for both personality types. Like there's different things that you can focus on. And if you have a company that can support you getting in, now I'm going to use like neo language of your
sure.
genius zone.
Yeah,
So, what is the highest return on investment and return on energy for you? If you have a company that supports you in figuring out what that is and only spending your time there, then it's such a win and you're really doing what you love regardless of what that is. So, you can be really creative in kind of shaping this business and doing well in it
yeah.
regardless of your background.
No, that's great. And there's so many things we've talked about here: entrepreneurship, being creative, and there is a financial aspect to what we do in the mortgage business. But I think it's a wonderful business, and you can because it is entrepreneurial, right? So you can do as little as you want or as much as you want. There's no income limitation. There's no very little barrier to entry other than getting your licensing set up and so forth, which is not difficult for most people, and so forth. So I think it can be a great business, and I encourage everyone to think about it. I'm encouraging people at this point that are saying Do I go to college or not go to college? And if you're smart, you know how to do things, and you're willing to work, you don't need a college degree to be in the mortgage advisor planning space at all. And in
Yeah.
some ways, it might even hinder you, is
Yeah.
my personal belief,
Yeah.
right? Because as you said, there's cool people and different kinds of people. And I think we're entering an age where, the left and right side of the brains, you need to run on it, but more and more the creative stuff's going to be important, I believe, and connecting with
Yeah.
people, because all the automation and the math and the financial aspect will all be done in other ways, right? We don't need to crunch numbers necessarily. We
Yeah.
do need to be able to how to explain concepts in a way that make people feel comfortable and put them in a position to be able to take action to do something that's good for them ultimately. And that's, I think, the key to it. And it's a great business for that aspect. So
Yeah.
thank you. All right. So I think we're wrapping up here. I want to give you the opportunity to kind of finish. And I'd love you to share, if you don't mind, just a thought for anyone that might be listening to this now or in the future and so forth. Just a thought for the day, or a word of advice, something that's important that's on your mind to leave to make the world a better place.
Oh, wow. Pressure's on. Okay. Um, a thought that I've recently, and this is kind of with the season of life that I'm in, and we're in the financial world and like helping people make smart decisions with their money. And I actually just made a LinkedIn post about this the other day, but it was kind of this like reflection, and it hit me because what we do in our role is not only mortgage, but helping people create safety and leverage and opportunity down the line. And the reason that we do this is because many people talk to mortgage advisors in their life. Like at some point, you're going to want to buy a house. Not everyone knows to go to a financial advisor,
Mhm.
or they don't know if they should go to a financial advisor. So we're kind of the low hanging fruit of being able to give that advice and create those opportunities and make connections for people. And, but where I got my kind of financial literacy and just these things that I now believe is from my dad.
Oh.
So my dad was very adamant early on, start saving money. I was lucky enough to actually be able to work with my parents' financial advisor because they'll kind of take in any kids. I definitely didn't have the assets for it at the time. But I've just learned the power of putting money away and investing it and letting it sit there and grow. And that is the only reason that I was able to make this move to mortgage advisor,
Mhm.
where it's a full commission opportunity, basically fully
Yeah.
commission
Yeah.
role, because I had this safety net. And I just look at other people that don't have this safety net, have this mindset of, like I've heard, what if you die tomorrow? Then it's like, well, what if you don't though? So
Yeah.
it's just, it's not, some people look at it as this kind of selfish, like, I want to have a lot of money and buy flashy things. But that's not always the case. It's just being smart with your money and making good decisions can create opportunities for you because you have safety. So I think it's so important. And I've been reflecting on that a little bit recently because I wouldn't be in this position if I didn't have those lessons early on. So it's kind of a full circle moment to be able to help other people do the same.
I love it. And so normally I would just finish on that, but you said so much there. I just want to like kind of go back to a little because I mean, so your lesson from your dad, your parents, right? That art is awesome. That's great, and thank you for sharing that. But the idea of creating a safety net. I mean, so anyone that listens to this or hears this at some point, can reach out to Val in Texas or anywhere in the country, quite frankly, because you can see that she's teaching way more than about how to buy a house and get a mortgage. She's talking about money and life and creating safety nets and liquidity and leverage and all these concepts that are hard to learn, right? And so having someone like Val to kind of teach that to you and or partner with you, like financial planners that are could talk to you this kind of stuff. They see you're going to be different. Anyway, so I just want to thank you for sharing all that and so forth. And I wish you tremendous success. I know
Thank
you'll do
you.
great. And
I
thank you for
appreciate it. This was fun, John.
yeah, it
Thanks for
was a
having
lot
me
of fun.
on.
So thank you so much. And we'll talk again.
Of
But
course.
anyway, get back out there. Have a great time at your mastermind. Oh, the silly fly. At your mastermind on Friday. And have a great time. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
All
it,
right.
John. Glad
Awesome.
to be
All
here.
right.